All right, what's going on, everybody? Cullen the Great here. I'm bringing you another one of my music business tips and tricks videos. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to book your own show come 2021. Obviously, the industry has taken quite the hit this year. We're staying very optimistic as musicians, considering there is no end in sight, no word on when venues and shows are going to reopen and start happening again. So take this with a grain of salt and understand that we're staying optimistic over here, and it doesn't really matter what year it is or what's going on, but these basic fundamental principles will help you better book your shows and will help you get a show going. So before you even get started trying to put together a show, thinking of a name, where it's going to be at, there's a couple very important questions that you need to ask yourself. The first one, of course, is, can you even put on a show? Do you have enough music to put on a show? It's really important to understand, how many tickets can you sell? How many people are actually listening to your music? And then how many people are going to actually show up? There's no sense in taking on this big financial risk only to not get the results that you're looking for. So make sure you understand that before you even start the booking process. Understand how many people that you can actually get to the show, and that's going to be where you start your budgeting at. The next question is, how much money do you have to spend? How much money are you willing to put out to put on a show? Now, industries, it's a little bit different for underground musicians compared to mainstream artists. Underground musicians, a good majority of the time, just getting started out, you are going to have to pay out of pocket. I'm going to say it again. You are going to have to pay out of pocket in order to book your show, in order to book a venue. You got to look at it from a venue's perspective too, okay? If you're going to rent out your nice space, your equipment, your engineers, you're going to pay people to be there that night, you're going to want to make sure you at least make X amount of money. And venues have been burned countless times where they take the gamble on underground musicians only to have nobody showing up. I've played a number of shows. I've been to a number of shows where the promoting on it wasn't very good. There was not a lot of people in the crowd, and it just makes for an awkward experience. So you got to understand that as a venue, they're trying to make money and they got to keep their doors open for future musicians. So understand what level of show you're trying to put on and then reach out to these venues. If you develop a good relationship with a venue, which I highly recommend, then they might be more willing, more apt to lower that price or be more flexible with the payment options on that. There's going to be a bunch of underground spots that I'm sure you've seen your favorite musicians perform at, and that's a great place to start looking. That's a great place to understand and practice getting the business aspect of it. Each venue, believe it or not, sort of specifies the kind of music that they book. So you want to understand if their acoustics are better supported for heavy metal, pop, rap, R&B, hip hop. What's it going to sound like if your music's playing in there? How many people can they let in the doors? Can people drink here? Can you sell merch here? Are you going to be able to do sound check? Are they going to half-ass your set? Do they care about the musicians, or are they just there for a quick buck? And is it going to break the bank if it's the right fit for you? So that's why you really want to understand these venues in your area. You want to understand their draw amount, the capacity. A lot of times you're going to hear that term, what's the draw? The draw is the music industry's lingo for how many people are you going to bring to my venue? How many people are you going to bring to the show? How much money can you make me? Basically at the end of the day. So as soon as you feel that you have enough people to draw in a crowd and make yourself money, reach out to these venues, find out what their minimum draw is, what their maximum capacity is, and then start working it from there. There are going to be pros and cons of every place, so you just got to kind of play around and figure out which one's going to work best for you and which one is going to be able to allow your music to stand out more than others. Just like renting a venue, buying merchandise is a financial risk. It's an investment. If you are not guaranteeing yourself that you can sell every single one of those merch items that you have, then you are more than likely going to lose money at the end of the day. Because not only do you have to cover the venue, you're going to have to cover your merch. If you're paying a DJ, you're going to have to cover a DJ. If you get your own sound guy, a door person, these are all things that you have to consider when booking a show. The next part is, what all do I need to do in order to book a show? What does it entail? Obviously, you're gonna have to rent the venue, which is what we were just talking about, understanding where you wanna go, what you're gonna perform, how you're gonna sell. You're gonna need to figure out how much you're selling your tickets for. That's a big thing. You don't wanna overcharge, but you don't wanna undercharge. So I recommend keeping your tickets at $10 just to start out with, until you're packing venues. There's really no sense in trying to gouge as much money out of your fans as you can. They're gonna show up anyways. Try and keep a positive relationship with them. You want them to come to your next show. You don't wanna let them down, and you don't want to put on a great show, but then not have them come because your ticket price is a little expensive and they're not getting the same experience that they would at a full-fledged concert in an arena. You're gonna need a door person to collect tickets, collect money at the door. You're gonna need a DJ to load your songs, play music while there's a lull in the crowd, while you're changing artists. You're gonna wanna really know the sound guy, really kind of understand each other and know what sound you're looking for, and kind of how he works himself. A huge tip, never, ever, ever, ever call him the sound guy. Learn their name and call them by their name. It is one of the most degrading things in a music industry, putting on shows, when the sound guy is the one in charge of he's in charge of your sound, your vocals, and you're treating them like shit. You gotta understand that he's a human too. He's there to make money. He's at his job. Learn his name, say his name. But if you're going to do merch, you're gonna need somebody to sell your merch. You can't be in 5 different places at once. You can't be the door person, the DJ, the promoter, the host, merch guy all at the same time. You're gonna need a host. You're gonna need somebody up there promoting your show. This is one of the least important things I would say that you need. A lot of musicians I work with, a lot of concerts we've put on, we just end up hosting the show ourselves even though we're performing, and it's great because you get to save money, you don't have to pay somebody to host your show, and you get more exposure, more stage time. People are more likely to see you, ask about you, and recognize you. But at the same time, it takes away from your performance. That more time up on stage, they're just gonna go, oh, it's this guy again. Oh, it's this guy again. So when it finally does come time for you to perform and play your music, their eyes are gonna glaze over and go, oh my gosh, this guy's been on stage all night. When's he gonna get off? It's not always like that, but it is gonna draw away from your performance. It's gonna take away from some of the special things that are in your performance. You really gotta be business savvy when you're putting together concerts too. You have to understand the flow of money. You have to understand to cover your assets before you can put money in your pocket. Never take from the pool that you have your money for. And another thing that's really big that I recommend is make a contract. Type up a very basic contract just covering your rear end so the artist doesn't screw you over. Not every venue offers a contract, but typically they're very flexible. They understand. That's why they make you pay out of pocket right away, so that if there is any sort of cancellation last minute, it doesn't hurt them. And that's why I recommend you put together your own contract if you're recruiting artists for your show, so that you don't get screwed over and that the night of they didn't sell all their tickets, so they're just not going to show up. And then you lose money that's supposed to go to the venue. You have people that show up that are disappointed because they paid money to see somebody perform and they're not there. So you want to make sure that you have contracts to cover your end. You're more than likely never going to run into a situation where you have to take somebody to small claims court, even if they do try to finesse you or they don't show up to perform. If you put your show together right, one performer dropping out isn't going to ruin the entire night. But you do want to have contracts in place. It makes people signing to your show feel more comfortable. It makes you look more professional, and it makes them more likely to come back to you again in the future because you built that trust and they know they can trust you. They know your contracts are valid and you're not looking to screw them over. Which again, you want to collaborate. Always be working with other musicians, other artists in your area. And this isn't just for performing, this is for music in general. Work with artists for cover arts, different producers for beats, collaborate with different photographers, videographers, all of it. Anybody that does any sort of art, incorporate it into your music because it's only going to expand your target market and your demographic by that much more. And you never know when you're gonna find that little niche market that is going to take your music and run with it. So always collaborate. And it's especially big in shows because when you're collaborating with other musicians, these people are actually showing up to the venue to watch you perform. They get a front row seat for you to show them your music. So why would you not want to reach out to as many musicians in your area as possible to try and bring the biggest amount of new fans that you possibly can to your show? That's a potential for you to meet somebody new, for you to gain a new fan, for you to get a new artist to work with in the future. That's another thing too, is when you collaborate with people, you're putting on an event. You're not just putting on a show. And that's, if there's any key takeaway that you take from this video, it's that. You're putting on an event, you're not putting on a show. It's not just a karaoke night for you and your buddies to go up on stage, jump up and down and sing and rap your music like stars. No. When you go up on stage, you're putting on an event. You're marketing yourself. You're branding yourself. You're saying, this is me and this is how I roll. And the more people you have involved in that, the more moving parts there are. Yes, the more complicated and more risky it gets, but at the same time, the bigger the reward. The higher the risk, the bigger the reward. So really make sure you're collaborating with other artists and encourage them to promote the show, encourage them to sell tickets and show up. The way we do it is when we put together a show, we're going to be the headlining act, so we're going on at 10 o'clock at night. And then we reach out to local artists in the area. We have a running list of people that we've done shows with, that we've worked with in the past. Really, anybody that we've communicated with when it comes to music, we reach out, let them know we're having a show. This is the deal, this is the contract, this is how much it costs, you get X amount of tickets, etc. And then we build the show that way. So putting together a show takes a lot of understanding of business, takes a lot of understanding of your own target market, takes a lot of understanding of other musicians in your area, venues, and just how people react to live performance in general. Always look at it from the perspective of, if I was attending the show, how would I want it to look? What would make this look that much cooler? I know a lot of people are gonna roll their eyes at the fact that you have to pay out of pocket just starting out as an underground musician. Some people highly disagree with this, but if you don't invest in yourself, who will? If you're sitting there waiting for somebody to just come around and offer you a free show or just tell you that you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, here's a record deal, then you're gonna be waiting for a very, very long time. If you don't believe in yourself that much to pay for yourself, why would other people want to invest in you? If you're not confident enough in yourself to invest in your music, then why would others? I hope this video helped some of you guys. I hope you were able to get some tips and tricks on how the underground industry works when it comes to booking a show. It's real easy to get in contact with venue owners. Just go to their website. There's usually a contact section. If you can't, just try and send a blind email out to contact@venue.com. But it doesn't hurt to build relationships with these people. Even if you're just asking questions, you're only going to get a better understanding of how it all works. Thank you guys again for checking out my video. I really appreciate you stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. If you like what you saw, go ahead and click that subscribe button for more tips and tricks in the music industry. If you have anybody that you know that makes some fire-ass music, or if you have a song you want me to review, go ahead, send it my way, or drop it down in the comments. Once again, I'm Cullen the Great. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Until next time, peace.